Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, if you're new to the show, these are all companies I used as an AD. They're all great companies. I really encourage you to check them out. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our Wednesday Wisdom guest, and then go and visit these sponsors. You're going to be very glad you did. We want to thank our good friends at Snap Raise for their support. Have you ever spent weeks on a fundraiser and then been disappointed in the results? Well, I'm telling you, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school with great success. Coaches loved it, parents loved it. I'm telling you, it works. Go to snapraise.com. Check out all their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. We also want to say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant AD got his master's through the program, along with thousands of others, and it was a great experience. And while they earn their master's degree through the Ohio program, they also receive 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We want to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is the official high school sports administration platform for a number of states, thousands of ADs, and even if your state or your school uses a different platform for scheduling and rosters, you can still be a home campus school. I'm telling you, their athletic clearance and management program for eligibility is a game changer. You really got to check it out. Go to homecampus.com and don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. You've heard me say before that probably the best purchase I ever made as an AD was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to their website and schedule a live web demo to see all their great products. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team show you how to become a social media guru for your athletic department. Whether it's a simple post to celebrate a victory or an entire newsletter to showcase all the great things that your school's doing, Gipper Engage, Gipper Touch, Gipper Display, you got to see their products to really appreciate it. Your school's doing great work. Don't let it go unnoticed. Go to Gipper.com and don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to say thank you to Hometown. Hometown is changing the game for schools and organizations with their suite of solutions for things like digital ticketing. What a surprise. They're still the number one provider. But how about fee-free fundraising, athletic website construction, and a whole lot more? Whether you're a coach or a principal, an AD, Hometown is going to show you how to save time, raise more money, and bring your entire community together. That's hometown.com. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Have you ever wanted to create a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the different events, or show off your school's Hall of Fame? Go to their website and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. Put one of their units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway. It's going to become a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com for more information. And we'd like to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. At my school, we use surveys for everything, kids, coaches, parents. And the cool thing, the information that would come back, almost always over the top positive. We still got to hear from our squeaky wheel parents, but we could hear the concerns and usually address them before they turned into something big. But having all of that positive feedback, incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with that frustrated parent or maybe your principal or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. You can schedule that live web demo and let them create that survey for you. athleticsurveys.com. And as always, don't forget to mention the podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We've got, I think it's a first time Wednesday wisdom segment, but truly an old friend of the podcast. Our guest today is Katie Pate. Longtime listeners will certainly recognize that name. She was one of our interview guests back in, I think, the early 500s. I'm going to say maybe 550, 570. Her toolbox tips are going to be in the Athletic Director's Toolbox fourth edition, which will be coming out in December. She did such a great job. We invited her back, and she's done a couple of, I think, toolbox extras and Super Tuesdays for us. Just a little bit. Katie has a tremendous athletic background as a player, as a college basketball coach. She's been in college administration, both athletic and development, for a couple of years. She's currently and has been the Senior Associate Athletic Director for Development at George Mason University. But I'll let the cat out of the bag a little bit. She's got an exciting announcement to make in addition to what she's going to share today. Katie Pate, welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you so much, Jake. It's great to be a part of another conversation. I love our talks together um, through industry shifts and changes, whether it's global or with myself. I like to keep you on my toes and certainly want to share with you a new appointment and direction for me as in early August, I will transition back down to the mountains of Boone, North Carolina as the new Senior Associate Vice Chancellor for advancement. Chancellor being a word I got to get used to. That's a different one for me. So I'm excited to talk about it, and certainly always great to spend some time with you, my friend.
Again, congratulations on the new position. You and I talked earlier. It's career, it's family. It's just great. Congratulations. Yeah, Chancellor. I hear that, and I'm just thinking like World War One. Generals and prime and chancellors. So, do we have to salute you now when we meet you? Uh,
Absolutely not.
One more thing for our listeners. You need to, check out Katie Pate on Twitter. She's very active, great social media presence. Also on LinkedIn. She has, without question, the best, I don't know what to call this, handle on LinkedIn. I'm going to leave it at that, but you got to check it out. And, one day we're going to test that out. One day. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
Katie, what do you have for our listeners on this Wednesday Wisdom?
Yeah, so I think for me, one of the kind of most front-facing things is how we as athletics administrators or coaches, educators in general, I think sometimes we underestimate just how far our skill set and our toolbox extend outside the courts and the fields and the offices into other spaces. And I spent a lot of time, considering this particular position that I'm moving into. 27 years, Jake, that I've been in college athletics. This is a huge change for me, but is it really? And as I considered the position and spoke with mentors, and you and I've talked a lot about who's in your circle, who's that group of people that you can call for that trusted advisorship. And the question that I received the most, which I think is a compelling one, you spent 27 years in college athletics, Katie Pate. How do you feel about getting out of athletics? Was the $1 million question I got from about 28 different people. And I will simply say, after tried and true conversations with mentors, my answer is very simple. Just because I'm not working in college athletics does not mean that athletics will ever leave me. And it is a part of my soul. It is the lining of my toolbox. And I think identifying what those characteristics are in each of us and where our passion points are, I don't have to give those away. In fact, they're the exact things that make me the leader that I am and a qualified person for a position that, even though might sound like there's a salute involved, there certainly isn't one. But being able to articulate who I am to people that maybe aren't as adept or as experienced in the space that you and I are so familiar with.
Wow. You and I talked a little bit before we started recording. And again, I think a lot of our listeners have gone through that, leaving, let's say, coaching to become an AD or going from AD to principal or dean. And then you got the other extreme, those people that are just starting their careers and they're teaching 6 classes, coaching 3 sports. And oh, by the way, you're the athletic director with one prep period. But yeah, it's a great I think it's a great discussion point and a great awareness point for people in our positions. I guess for you, and we talked about this from my perspective. I'm curious about your perspective. You were a very successful head coach, associate head coach at the collegiate level, and then you stepped away from coaching. That was tough for me. How was that for you?
Yeah, I think because for me, I thought it was going to be very difficult, and I distinctly remember the first position I held after leaving. I think it was Georgia State University. I was a lead for an external athletics arm at Longwood University, and uh, I had, gosh, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 direct reports. And the same way that you and I would think about assistant coaches, right? We talk so often about coaching the student athletes. I don't know if we spend enough time as head coaches talking about the assistant coaches that we lead. And so when I crossed over to the external side of the house, very front facing, absolutely the front porch to the athletics department, I was leading a team. And I remember saying on countless occasions, I had no idea that I was already doing this. I was already prepared to manage and lead a team of associates who were going to work on the external side of our athletics department. I was prepared for it, and I really enjoyed the challenge of moving from younger people to young professionals. One, because we couldn't pay anything, so we had the young ones just cutting their teeth in the business, which was a joy. It was such a joy. And I found myself very motivated in that space in a way that I absolutely did not anticipate.
Yeah, again, I think any AD goes through something like that. I was the athletic director and the head football coach at a school, so you're working with your peers. And I was at that point in my career, I was a good manager of the athletic department. I was not a good leader of people and coaches. You got everything you need. Okay, good. And, take care. uh, and then as I, got out of coaching and became that AD, it didn't happen instantly. And there were some speed bumps along the way, but I became a much better leader and collaborator and helper. I remember the best thing I ever did as an AD when I got the job at the McClay School in Tallahassee. Great school, best school in Florida, best school on the East Coast. I mean, just tremendous. And they hired me. Um, and I managed not to drive it off the rails while I was there. But that summer, I sent an email out, and I've told this story a million times to every single coach, head coach, assistant coach, JV, middle school. We had some elementary programs. I just, said, "Hey, I'm Jake Von Scheer, new AD," and they knew that. But hey, come in the office. Just want to say hi, get to know you. Let's talk about your team. And just about everybody came in, almost 90 coaches over that summer. And the first and kind of the only question I asked right off the get-go, what can I do to make your job more fun?
Ooh, I'm
What
stealing that. I'm
what can
writing
I
it
take?
down.
What can I take off your plate? Can I help with scheduling, with transportation? And a lot of this they were doing. And I wasn't teaching or coaching, so I had time to do this, and I wanted them to have fun coaching. And I don't know if I invented it. I obviously heard it somewhere, but I stole it and used it. And over that fall, that very first fall, it 3 different occasions. One was at a practice, one was at a football game, the one was just walking down the hall. 3 of our head coaches who had been there forever knew the culture. They'd been very successful. Um, each one of them came up to me and said something along these lines. Nobody ever asked us that before. And it just gave me such an incredible amount of, I guess, you know, credit and leeway with them as the new guy.
Yep.
But it's something that I've recommended, whenever the topic is come up. And it worked. Now I had to back it up. I had to, do some of those things and be there for them. But it was a great experience for me. Loved every minute I was there. And there's one tool that I can toss out.
Yeah, I love that. As I consider the opportunity to lead a new team, much larger team, much more experienced, some seasoned professionals and fundraisers specifically for our university. I love that's what I'm talking about. There's no reason why you can't use a question like that when taking over a part of an organization or an organization in general, regardless of level of success. What can I do to make your job more fun? I don't think we talk about having fun enough. So it may be not my wisdom Wednesday. It might be yours because I'm stealing your tool.
Hey, and that's what any good athletic director or any good administrator is going to do. They're going to find those.
Mhm.
So let's go on. As you look back on your time at George Mason, you know, big time program, very successful in a ton of ways. Boy, your social media posts about this coach and about this team, just very cool stuff. Um, and I'm going to set this whole thing up for you. What are a couple things that you can look back on that you are particularly proud? Hey, I did this, we did this, our department did this. And then looking forward, I know you're not even on campus yet in Boone, but what's one or two things that you want to do? Is that a fair question?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think at George Mason and so many other just great colleges and universities, as presidents change and ADs change and kind of the main figureheads of a university shift and people move in and move out. The opportunity to work for a first-time athletics director in Marvin Lewis has really become a privilege. He was recently named to the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship Committee,
Mhm.
which the coup de grace, of course, is to serve on the men's committee, but you can't get to the men's without doing the. I mean, he is a just a tremendous leader, who's maybe about 10 years my junior. So I'm working for a younger guy, right? And trying to figure out how can I work in the spaces that he needs me most. And I think coming to a conclusion between a new leader and kind of his designated appointee to oversee one of the most important arms of the Division I athletics department, which is fundraising, is at the end of the day, we agreed on one thing, and it was that our people mattered the most. And so creating kind of the foundation of a culture that is dedicated to caring for fans and supporters and donors, of all levels and varieties, is how can we make sure that the experience that any person has from the time they park their car to walking into an arena or walking into a hospitality space, that it's memorable. And it takes a tremendous amount of work, as you know, but things like um, something as small as in hosting a major gift hospitality space, someone says, "Man, I sure wish you had more chocolate chip cookies." And the next game, I'm going to make sure that we have more chocolate chip cookies. And that person's going to say, "Oh my gosh, Jake, you have more chocolate chip cookies. You heard me." And validating, the supporters and what matters to them. Because what matters to them is what's most important. It's not what matters to me. It's them. I'm serving them. And so creating those distinctive spaces and opportunities where it's just one thank you after a next, not that I'm looking for it, but that um, I heard them and we're creating experiences that not only are memorable for the donors, but are also, move the needle financially from a donor standpoint. I'd say one particular thing was we have a giving society called the Green Coat Society, and moving that major gift society to 100 households is definitely a signature play for me. Is adding almost 25 to 30 additional major gift donors in a short period of time, being creative with how we did it, and being able to lay that foundation moving forward. But um, you know, App State, not dissimilar. Got a new chancellor, brand new vice chancellor. The vice chancellor that I'll be working for, he's a sports guy. His daughter's going to be a freshman at Virginia Tech. She was the Gatorade Player of the Year this year down at Watauga High School in Boone, North Carolina. So he's a sales guy by nature, which is what I'm attracted to because he moves at a pace like athletics. And I'm really interested to see how I can get creative in delivering a sense of urgency and fun to an audience of fundraisers on the side of academia, which sometimes is a little bit more of a patient play. Is how can I incorporate a bit of an athletics mindset in a space that tends to go a little bit slower than athletics. The world of higher education, as you know, it's been flipped on its head. We got to do things different, and so how can we? Every hallway needs to have a basketball hoop at the end of it and a Nerf ball. So we'll
That's you.
see how that experiment works.
That's the chancellor speaking. Okay. We're going to have fun.
Yep, we are. Yes, we're going to have fun. So, and we can't take ourselves too serious. I mean, it just uh that's a non-negotiable.
Wow. Again, for listeners, I looked it up. You need to go back if you haven't already heard, or if you had, listen again to Katie's episode. It was number 575. And she gives, over the course of that interview, I guess, it was just a master class on development, how to make the ask, how to do that at your school and your program. Again, you got to go back and listen to it. Uh, okay. Wow, I lost my train of thought there.
You were thinking about the Nerf. You're thinking about the Nerf
Yeah,
hoop.
I was. Yeah, I was back in sixth grade in my bedroom.
Yep.
Slam dunking that Nerf ball. Um, let's uh, uh, let's talk about again, based on your experience and listeners. High level athlete, college coach, very successful in development, and now continuing that at Appalachian State. Um, you talked earlier about the skills that, the athletic director person, they're as a friend of ours, Scott Jarvis says, their DNA allows
Mhm.
them to be successful in other fields. And the tools in the toolbox, many times we've called it the leadership toolbox. Let's go ahead and, pick your brain while we have you. What have you found? And I know you contributed to the toolbox. We already said that, but what have you found? I guess what tools, what traits, what characteristics have you found from your coaching days have paid off in these other areas? Development, making the ask, or building those relationships. What are a couple that just flat out? These are transferable tools from probably any athletic director.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I would say think back to some of your first practice plans that you ever wrote. Whether it was by hand or you had. I remember when Practice Planner Pro first came on the scene, and I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever." It's like drop down boxes, and uh, it's funny, but how relevant simply having a plan to the day with a goal in mind. You always would have like some type of a goal to your practice plan, or you'd have a quote of the day, like at the top, you'd share with your team. Here's the quote for the day, everybody. But just that attention to detail that we as coaches have, man, has that come in handy for so many reasons. But and it was never non-negotiable. I never had a great practice if I hadn't planned the time to make my practice plan. My practice never went as well as I thought. If I had it like written on a scrap piece of paper, now some people are really good at doing practices. I had to be more organized. But if I had some junky practice plan, it never went as well. I couldn't stay on time. I went over. I always went over if my practice plan wasn't a little bit more organized and calculated. Think about how important, just right now, how important it's going to be for me in sitting down in one-on-one meetings with 20 different senior fundraisers and establishing a meeting cadence so that when we have our one-on-one meetings, it takes into perspective what you just said in the example when you met with those coaches. I got to listen first, but there's got to be a plan to that meeting. Business moves too fast. Well, for God's sakes, for like 20 years, I did practice plans. Like that's my meeting cadence. And so it sounds small, sounds trivial, but between that and I wish I'd been a little bit better listener when I was a coach. As I got older, I became a better listener. I thought I had all the answers, so I didn't need to listen to you. But so I think being intentional, planned, and being a great listener. And I'll say, let me give you this one quick nugget. The guy I work for right now, everybody on the senior leadership team does a disc analysis. We've all done personality profiles. This isn't for some grandiose exercise, but for the senior leadership team. This is so that he knows in his one-on-one meetings with us who I am. And so he knows that the first 10 minutes of our 1 hour one-on-one meeting every other week is dedicated to Katie talking about sports. I'm a counselor by trade. And so I want to ask him, like, what did you do at Georgia Tech? And what was it like when Bobby Cremins recruited you? And did you see that play and that dunk? And oh my gosh, did you hear about the drama up at Providence? Whatever it is. He builds in that 10 minutes. He plans it because he knows that's what I need to start a meeting off well with him. And but again, that's planned. That's his practice plan, and so I would say that of course I never knew that was going to carry over, but I certainly recognize just how powerful it really is.
Wow, I love it. I love the examples. And Ken, when you mentioned it's not just something for senior leadership, I've sat through a number of those
Of course
tests.
you have. And we all have. And it's
Yeah.
like, why did we do that thing that
Right.
we had this big plan for? And then we're like, it
Oh,
just, you throw it to the side, but this is for a very intimate purpose.
right. Oh, that's lovely. I gotta share my own nugget, and it's just illustrates how old I am. Uh, at McClay, our coaches were great. They bought into pretty much everything I shared. It was a great experience. And we talked about, hey, everybody, you will have a practice plan. Uh, and I was walking through the gym during winter season. This is months later, and our JV basketball coach, great guy, is coaching the team. And I'm just walking through the gym, and I notice he's looking at his phone. And I kind of stopped when I got to the end of the gym and practice is going on. He's coaching. The kids are doing it's great. And he's looking at his phone. Kids are doing great. And he keeps looking at his phone. The next day I saw him and I go, hey, I
I know
saw
where
you looking
this
at
is
your
going.
phone. Because I'm sure he's texting his girlfriend or something.
Right.
And
Of course.
he shows me, oh, it's my practice plan. And I'm officially old. Uh,
That's it. Yep. I knew that's what that was going to be. That's hilarious.
yeah,
I would have been
so,
the same way. I've been like,
mm,
what are you
he's-
doing?
I'm looking for my clipboard that I've always had. It's a clipboard, okay? And it's dry
Yeah.
erase on the back.
I got the paper like in the back of my shorts,
There
like
you
folded
go.
in half,
Okay.
right?
Were they bike shorts? Were they with the elastic?
No, no, no,
Okay.
no, no, no.
Uh,
Didn't quite did that was maybe just before me.
okay. You made me feel better because
That's a football thing.
that's
That's a
part of my
football thing.
early coaching gear.
Yeah, that's a football thing.
Katie, this has just been great. We got Wednesday wisdom. We got a toolbox extra. We got a news update. I think we squeezed everything into this episode. But for our listeners, one thing we try to do is allow them to build their network. So if somebody wanted to pick your brain a little bit more, and listeners, you have a tremendous resource here. In addition to following you, give us all the handles, and then if you can, give us the new email at App State.
Yeah. So handles the Twitter or X account is at Coach Katie Pate. Absolutely DM me, follow me. I will absolutely reply and set up a call. LinkedIn is Katie Pate. You'll see the tagline that Jake's referring to. You won't be able to miss it. Drop me a message there. I'm just a couple days away from that new email address. But for this purpose, you can email me, coachkatiepate@gmail.com. And I will be happy to reply and jump on a call or a Zoom or answer some questions.
Well, by the time they listen to us, I think you're going to be at App
Yeah.
State. So
Yeah.
very cool. Well, Katie, again, it's always a treat to spend some time with you. Our paths are going to cross, and we will be
Mhm.
able to test out that tagline.
Yep.
Um, All the best with the new job, and we'll look forward to the next time we have you back.
Great. Thanks so much, Jake.
Hey, for listeners, we want to thank you and just remind you we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Wednesday Wisdom just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So we'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast. Thanks for listening. Hey, before we go, of course, we want to thank our sponsors one more time. Now, if you're not using these sponsors, go check them out, even if you're using a competitor. We want to say thanks to Gipper. We want to thank Hometown. We want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We want to thank Home Campus. We want to thank Sideline Interactive and Vital Signs Wall of Fame. We want to say thank you to Snap, Raise, and Huddle. And we also want to thank Athletic Surveys. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.